Good morning, class 12. Today I am going to start the second chapter, which is included in your higher secondary syllabus, that is sexual reproduction in flowering plant. Now, before starting with the chapter, I would like to give you a brief idea about what is sexual reproduction. Let me tell you, this type of reproduction you have done previously. So therefore, I am just going to provide you with some brief ideas, some brief key points which you should know. Like, first of all, what is sexual reproduction? The reproduction which takes place by the fusion of two gametes, that is called your sexual reproduction. That means basically fusion is taking place, and that is also of two gametes. Let me tell you, gametes are unicellular in nature. Now, motile gametes are called which are found in plant. Those are being termed as planogametes, like you get in algae, bryophyta. Non-motile gamete means a gamete which can't move. Those are called aplanogametes, which is also been found in Spirogyra. Gametes are generally produced within a sac, which is known as gametangium. Fusion of two gametes lead to the formation of a diploid zygote. Sexual reproduction can be broadly divided into two categories: syngamy and conjugation. So I've just given you an example picture just to show you the process, to give you an idea about sexual reproduction. See, egg from two human, the gametes are getting segregated. From female it's been egg, from male it's been sperm. When it comes in contact with each other, now let me tell you, the egg is haploid in nature, that's by 23. Sperm is also an haploid gamete, unicellular unit, that's also why it is 23. When two are fusing together, they are leading to the formation of zygote by undergoing the process of syngamy or fertilization, which leads to the production of embryo. Now, syngamy. Syngamy is just the term given to the fertilization. So what are you going to call? What is this method about? The method of sexual reproduction when two cells of opposite gender generally get fused permanently. Yes, this process has been permanent in nature. It's not that once it got fused again it will be reversed back. No, once it got fused, no reversal back of action can take place. In this case, one male gamete unites with the egg within the embryo sac, forming a diploid zygote. This process is also termed as your generative fertilization. Now, syngamy is also again divided into following types: isogamy, anisogamy, oogamy, hologamy. Okay, now let me tell you iso. Iso means same. That means when the two fusing gametes are morphologically as well as your physiologically. Morphologically means structurally, and physiologically means also means functionally. So when they are being both of them are being similar, that is your isogamy. When both the gametes are more or less similar in shape, size, function, that are called isogametes. And isogamy or heterogamy, that means different. That means when both the fusing gametes morphologically and physiologically, that means structurally and functionally, are different from each other, that is called your anisogamy. Examples are provided in your in this video also. Examples are already given in your book also, so please go through it. Hologamy, when the two organisms themselves act as a gamete. That means in this case you don't require gamete, the organism itself is actually acting as your gamete, which happens in your yeast. In case of those sexual reproduction process, like budding and all those. Then comes your oogamy. What is oogamy? In oogamy, one of the gamete is small flagellate. That means they are provided with flagella, and since they are provided with flagella, they will be motile in nature, while the other one is large non-flagellate, means not provided with flagella, and even they are non-motile in nature. That means they are not provided with any kind of movement, not capable of showing any kind of movement. They unite with each other to form a zygote. Now see, I have given you male flagellate gamete is called your antherozoid or spermatozoid, which has been formed within a male organ, which is called your antheridium. And non-motile gamete, which is your larger gamete, which is your egg or ovum, which has been formed within the archegonium. See, in this side of the picture where you are seeing basal stalk, sterile, jack, spermatid, this is the structure of an antheridium where your spermatozoid's development is taking place. And on the right hand side, the picture has been given of an archegonia where your female gamete formation, that means egg is formation of egg takes place. Now we need to move to the other process, which is known as conjugation. Okay, now we are going to move into the process called conjugation. So let me tell you what is conjugation. It's also a method of sexual reproduction where your union is taking place between two isogametes or between the fusion of the protoplast of the two isogametengium. But it has to be of same species. That is called your conjugation. The fusion of protoplast of the conjugating cell has to be permanent nature, because once the protoplast of the conjugating cells are getting fused, it cannot get again detached back, or it cannot reverse its action. Conjugation is commonly found in Spirogyra. So I have given two animation video. One conjugation is this on left hand side. The conjugation video has been showing for the specimen Paramecium, and on the right hand side you can see the conjugation which has been found in bacterial cell. So on this side it's been Paramecium, and on this side it's been bacterial cell. You can see how it is taking place. Now you need to know about a little bit about a flower structure. This is also a portion which you have already done, so I'm just giving you a brief idea about this portion. First of all, flower is your modified reproductive shoot, and therefore it helps you in reproduction. It consists of a condensed axis which is known as your thalamus, and on the thalamus there are four sets of floral leaves. The floral leaves are arranged on the thalamus in an orderly manner. Yes, it needs to follow an orderly manner of arrangement. It just cannot arrange itself randomly. So it has to arrange itself one after the other. Now let me tell you what is inflorescence or anthotaxy. The other name for inflorescence is known as anthotaxy. What is it? The arrangement of flowers on the floral axis is called the inflorescence. Like means how the flower is being arranged, what parts are coming after what, that entire arrangement is called your inflorescence or anthotaxy. Now obviously inflorescence bears an axis. The inflorescence axis bearing the flower is generally termed as rachis, which may be branched or unbranched. It can be branched also, it can be unbranched also. See, I have given you axis bearing the flower, that is termed as your rachis, which can be branched or unbranched. If an individual flower of an inflorescence generally is stalked in nature, and that portion is called your pedicel. If the flower is solitary in nature, then the term will change from pedicel to peduncle. Flower of inflorescence are generally provided with bracts and bracteoles. Now you need to know what is bract and bracteole. See, I have given you bracts are modified, usually small. They have been leaf-like structure which often get its position beneath a flower. And bracteoles is a secondary bract. So bract is primary in nature and bracteole is secondary in nature. A secondary bract subtending a flower. Bract you generally get below the inflorescence, and bracteole it's a secondary bract which you will generally get subtended within a bracteole is just like acts like a secondary bract subtending a flower within an inflorescence. Now bracteoles are to some extent smaller than the bracts. Now I have given you the schematic representation. See, parts of your complete flower. It can be divided into non-essential wall and essential wall. Why non-essential wall? Because that is not performing a reproduction part. See, calyx and corolla. Essential walls is your androecium and gynoecium. Calyx are your individual units. The individual units are called your sepals. What is its function? To protect the inner wall of the flower in bud condition. That means when they have not developed properly, when it's been in bud stage, it's not in proper maturity stage, that condition calyx are going to protect them. Corolla. Next part comes your corolla. Individual units will be called as your petals, and it's also its function as the inner wall of flower and helps you in the purpose of pollination. Then comes your essential walls, which has been divided into androecium and gynoecium. In androecium, the individual units will be termed as your stamens. What are the stamen composed of? Anther and filament. And what does it act as? Its function as your male reproductive organ in the process of reproduction. And gynoecium, individual units are called your carpels. It has been composed of ovary, style, stigma, as given in the picture. You can follow the picture, and generally act as your female reproductive organ. See, the picture has been given. Just go through the pictures. See, even the pictures are also been given in your textbook, so please go through the textbook and see whether you have been getting the idea or not, because this is a portion which you have already done. Now see, already the portions which have been done, that only it's been given, like parts of your typical flower, which has been your calyx, corolla, that was given in schematic format, and this I have given you in that point format. The same thing, calyx is your outermost wall composed of sepals. What is its function? It's protecting the flower against drying up, against desiccation. Then comes your corolla, which is your second part wall of a flower. It contains your petals. What are its function? To attract pollinators. Yes, corolla is that portion which is going to attract your pollinators. Pollinators means agents of pollination, because that is the most attractive part of a plant. See, I have over here also have given you the picture. You can see how it has been opening up. This is an animation video, and this is the full picture of a full image of a typical flower, even showing the inner portions of a stem. Now come to your reproductive walls, which is your stamen. That means it belongs to the part of androecium, male reproductive organ. See, in this picture you can see how, in which portion pollen grains are formed, what is your line of dehiscence. Within pollen sacs, pollen grains have been found to be present. This is the filament stalk like structure, and the upper head has been termed as your anther. And within the anther only you get your pollen grains. And this is the next part of a flower, and is your gynoecium, which is your female reproductive part. Why female reproductive part? Because it bears your ovary. And also it is the innermost wall of the flower. It bears a stigma, a small slender tube-like, which is known as your style, and ultimately it's terminating into ovary. The ovary contains certain oval-shaped stalk bodies, which are known as your ovules. The gynoecium is concerned directly with the reproduction of plant. It generally produces megaspores, fruits and seeds. You can see the pictures. I have already given you the images to follow them. Now we are going to study about the floral formula and floral diagram of Hibiscus rosa sinensis, the common name being China rose. Now first let me explain you each and every symbol and the terms used for the floral formula. BR stands for bracteate, but bracts are absent in China rose. BRL for bracteole, that is also been absent. So in simple word you can write EBR also, which is ebracteate. The meaning goes same. That's why I'm putting that dot means they are not being present. Then you have in the small circle you have a plus sign. That sign stands for actinomorphic. Actinomorphic means a flower which can be divided into two equal and symmetrical halves by any vertical plane passing through the axis. That type of flower is called actinomorphic flower. Okay, then you have that sign which after actinomorphic comes a sign which sign stands for bisexual. Why bisexual? Because both the sexes have been present, both male and female. Then comes your K. K stands for calyx. With at the end of the K I have written small 5, and within the bracket I have written that to signify that There are 5 sepals in calyx and they have been united with each other. You can see from the diagram, the pink color one is your calyx portion. They have been united, that's why they have been put in the bracket. Then you comes to your corolla. Corolla also has 5 petals. Corolla has also 5 petals, which is been free in nature. Then comes your androecium, which has been numerous in nature. That's why I have given that numerous sign, which stands for alpha. I have given that sign because to signify that they have been numerous in nature. Now, but this corolla remains connected with the androecium. That's why that slanting sign I have given on the top of the on the top of C and A. Okay, and then comes to gynoecium. Gynoecium has 5 carpal. Then comes to your gynoecium. The gynoecium contains your ovary. The ovary contains certain oval-shaped stalk bodies known as ovule. Now they have 5 chambers, and with each chamber they have 2 ovules each. So therefore G within bracket I have written 5 to 10. 5 chambers, within each chamber 2 they are having those 2 locules. So therefore 5 to 10. So this is what your floral diagram meant about. Now comes your pollination. What is pollination? This pollination is the process of transfer of pollen grains from the anther of the stamen to the stigma of carpel of the same flower, or to a different flower of either closely related species. That just basically, in one word, the transfer of pollen grain which is taking place either in the same flower or to a different flower. Now it can be divided into self-pollination, which is also termed as autogamy, and cross-pollination, which is also termed as allogamy. What is self-pollination? When the transfer of pollen grains from the anther of a flower to the stigma of that same flower. That means self means obviously within the same specimen it is taking place. Pollination which is taking place within the same specimen. And cross-pollination means when the transfer of pollen grains are taking place from anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower. That means 2 different flowers are involved in this cross-pollination process. There are certain agents of pollination like anemophily. Anemophily is the in anemophily the agent is been your wind. In hydrophily the agent has been water. In zoophily the agent has been animal. Entomophily the agent has been insect. And there is another type of pollination which is known as ornithophily, the agent being bird. Okay, so for today it was this much. So just go through the lesson, see whether everything has been clear or not. Please even go through your textbook and study them, see everything has been clear or not. Okay, now based on today's lesson, I have given you some work assignment to do. So I have given you the question. Please, according to the marks, write your answers and mail me in the given email ID. I'm just repeating the question. Write a short note on syngamy. What is conjugation? Question 3. Give any 3 difference between cross and self-pollination. That is for 3 marks. Schematically represent the different parts of a flower. That is for 2 marks. What is hydrophily? That is for 1 mark. What is chasmogamy? For 2 marks. What do you mean by oogonium and archegonium? That is also for 2 marks. So thank you. If you have any doubts or queries, then you need to contact me in this given email ID. By right now you know my email ID, but still I am repeating it. ankita.sma@outlook.com. Even you need to mail your regular assignment in this email ID only. Thank you.